protests over George Floyd's death. The messages, the response, the calls for leadership, the demands for change.
Y'all come up with a better way.
A social crisis in the middle of a health crisis and an economic crisis. What will it take to restore peace? What will it take to bring meaningful change? Extensive coverage from both sides of the border tonight. This is The National. And across the United States tonight, we're watching to see how protests unfold. Curfews now in effect in Minneapolis, Chicago, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles, among other places. And along with police, thousands of National Guard troops are on patrol. Everyone bracing for another night of protest, hoping there will not be violence. Demonstrations that have been sparked by the death of an unarmed black man in police custody a week ago. George Floyd died after a police officer kneeled on his neck for several minutes as he struggled to breathe and pleaded for his life. That happened in Minneapolis, now the center of protest. It's where Susan Ormison is tonight. Stephen D'Souza is covering the situation in New York. Paul Hunter has the view from Washington. But let's begin where the unrest began, Minneapolis, where earlier this evening news cameras captured this moment.
What's happening right now? We see, oh wow, they're moving across. What's going on?
I'm not certain what.
Oh my gosh!
Here, wow!
Oh my God!
A giant.
Oh my God!
This is very dangerous.
That truck narrowly missed protesters who had gathered on the interstate that runs through the city. Its approach sending people running. Protesters were then seen converging on the vehicle. The driver was arrested. He does have injuries, though we're told they're not life-threatening. Officials say it doesn't appear that the truck hit any of the protesters. Susan Ormison is live in Minneapolis tonight near that scene on the highway. Susan.
Yes, Ian, what's happening here is those police that were at the highway, they came up the ramp and they blocked off this intersection. We just saw another dozen armored vehicles with the National Guard come through this area. There's also a large protest on the other side of the bridge and tear gas. You know, right now, these officers far outnumber the protesters on this side of the street. But it's a very common pattern. They're trying to get closer to them, and then they are pushed back with rubber bullets and tear gas. Now, that startling and disturbing incident we saw with the tanker on the highway, those were the same demonstrators that were peacefully protesting earlier in the day at the state capitol.
Floyd! Floyd! Floyd!
A calmer protest today outside the state capitol, surrounded by the National Guard. 5,000 called up, compared with just 500 2 days ago.
Arrested today! That's what justice looks like.
Demands still that all 4 police implicated in George Floyd's death be charged instead of just one so far for murder.
We're tired of this shit. You cannot continue to oppress, beat down, marginalize, redline, and kill a people and think we ain't gonna stand up and eventually fight back. This is an uprising.
Rebecca Lind with her boyfriend fought back tears.
Nobody should be murdered just by the color of their own skin. And it's just so crappy that after so many years we still have to be talking about this.
But pursuing justice for Floyd is exacting a heavy price, dividing even those united in the cause.
Ignorant shit like that! Don't shoot!
Last night's demonstration began peacefully, but most anticipated trouble. And just after curfew started,
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
riot police advanced, swiftly and forcefully, firing tear gas and rubber bullets. Protesters running wildly, eyes streaming. No mercy, move on out was the police message. We were caught up in the middle of it.
Oh, Jason!
No peace! No justice!
For hours, demonstrators set a line, trying to advance, and then retreated as police threatened.
No justice!
But once, as they yanked a makeshift barricade across the road, one man who lived nearby had had enough.
Don't burn our shit down. Go the fuck over there. Y'all can do y'all protest fuck 12, but y'all not burning my shit down.
Tempers flared, Mace came out, fists flew, a powder keg between protesters and other residents, all of them agitated. Late today, another powerful image. Shouting Black Lives Matter, demonstrators filled a highway. Shifting tactics for protesters and police, but with tensions barely budging here.
And an active situation in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We'll be checking back with Susan later in the hour. But let's move on to Washington, D.C. now, one of the cities which has declared a curfew. The mayor of America's capital wants everyone off the streets between 11 p.m. until 6 the next morning. This follows several nights of protest. Paul Hunter is in Washington tonight, just outside the White House. And Paul, what's the scene?
Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump!
Hey, Ian. The headline here is it is a large, passionate but peaceful demonstration. And all was fairly quiet until about 30 seconds ago, and some fireworks have been going off. There was some tear gas. I don't know if you can see down there, but there's milk on the floor. What happens is when people get tear gas, there's a station over there with a bunch of milk cartons. They pour it. Gets rid of the effect of the tear gas, which has just gone on over there. The reason people are right where I'm standing tonight, Ian, is just past those bright white lights in the distance. The White House. Donald Trump is inside. Their message is aimed at him. The question is he listening?
Outside the White House, in shouting distance of Donald Trump, fury. The message to the president is clear. Do something.
I can't stand for that.
From George Floyd's own brother today, anguish.
I just don't understand, man. Why we gotta go through this? Why we gotta have all this pain, man?
The pain is fresh, but the sad circumstance is bitterly familiar. From Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, to Eric Garner on Staten Island, to the protests in Baltimore after the death of Freddie Gray, nothing seems to ever change for Black Americans. Enter Donald Trump, last week threatening demonstrators who go too far with, as he put it, vicious dogs. For many, echoing ugly imagery from decades past in this country, and sparking a plea today from the mayor of Washington for Trump to help calm the nation.
And he can start by not sending divisive tweets that are meant to hearken to the segregationist past of our country.
Or as Atlanta's Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms put it,
he should just stop talking.
Trump has said nothing publicly today, but did tweet, slamming journalists for stoking hatred and anarchy, also blaming the left-wing group Antifa, branding them a terrorist organization. As presidents often do, Trump called the Floyd family on Friday. Today, Philanese Floyd described their conversation.
It was so fast, he didn't give me the opportunity to even speak. It was hard. I was trying to talk to him, but he just kept pushing me off, I don't want to hear what you're talking about. And I just told him I want justice. I said that I couldn't believe that they committed a modern day lynching in broad daylight.
Let's go back to Paul now, just outside the White House. Based on what you see there, sensing the energy, any expectation of what's to come tonight?
Oh, gosh, Ian, I don't know. I'll tell you this, it is a different vibe at this time tonight than it was last night. It was a lot more hepped up last night. I can't emphasize enough that it is a large and passionate and angry, but calm and peaceful demonstration. That said, in the last half an hour, it has stepped up a notch. We've had fireworks down that way. We've had tear gas that way. There's a police helicopter hovering overhead. But everybody who has come up to me while I've been standing here tonight, Ian, and on the way over here, just keeping an eye on things down here, has had one message. The problem isn't with anybody else. The problem, I've been told all night long, is the guy in the White House, Donald Trump. November is coming up fast. That's the real answer to the problems right now. That's who their message is aimed at here tonight. But again, the headline for the moment, Ian, peaceful.
Sure is nice having your experience and perspective there, Paul. Thank you very much, and we will come back to you later on. Protesters have also gathered tonight in New York City after demonstrations turned violent last night. And Stephen D'Souza is in New York for us. And what are you seeing there right now?
Well, Ian, we've been with a group that probably for the last 2 hours has been snaking through the streets, playing a bit of a game of cat and mouse with the police officers. There were a few hundred sort of following the group that's sort of off in the distance behind me. Those officers have since broken off, and the crowd is sort of moving through the streets of New York, past Madison Square Garden, Radio City Music Hall, all the big sites. Now we are in the heart of Midtown, but the theme and the message, as you've heard from the other stories, is really trying to keep things peaceful today.
In New York, protesters are united in their target, the police. But over the last few days, they haven't always been united in their approach. Today in Manhattan, crowds marched peacefully, trying to bring the focus back to their message of justice. But there's also been violence. The last few days and nights have seen police vehicles burned, buildings damaged, hundreds of arrests, and dozens of officers injured. The city is also still reeling from this on Saturday, an NYPD cruiser plowing into a crowd of protesters. The mayor says he didn't like what he saw from police. There will be a full investigation, but he and the police chief also chastised protesters.
That situation was created by a group of protesters blocking and surrounding a police vehicle.
There are protests and there are mobs, and I saw akin closer to a mob.
But protesters say it's the police inciting violence, like this officer ripping off a mask to pepper spray someone. The mayor insists that police have shown restraint. He has resisted calls for a curfew, saying it's only a small number of instigators causing violence.
Some come from outside the city, some are from inside the city. Some are from the neighborhoods where the protests take place, some are not. But what we do know is there is an explicit agenda of violence.
Last night, some protesters blocked a group from vandalizing a Target store in downtown Brooklyn. That, many say, is not the point. It's about the daily confrontations that people of color have with police.
I've been stopping frisk nonstop from the ages 15 to 20.
Throw into the mix anger over the impact of the coronavirus on minority communities, and New York is as volatile as it's been in a long time.
So let's talk a little bit more, Stephen, about coronavirus. As you point out, it's hit minority communities particularly hard in New York. So how has that been a factor here?
You know, those minority communities, Black and Latino, they got hit really hard because it was the neighborhoods they're in, they're essential workers, but also a lot of those businesses, Black and Latino businesses, felt that they didn't get the compensation that they needed. And then there was the enforcement of social distancing. As things started to ease up, they felt that Black and brown communities were being unfairly targeted. And then the numbers came out. There were some viral videos showing officers assaulting African American individuals, and so it bore that out, that they were unfairly targeted by police enforcement. And so all of that adds just another layer to the anger that's here out on the streets. We're hearing reports now that Union Square, which is further south from where we are, there are some tense standoffs, but so far in the crowd that we are in, about 200 or 300 strong, that's been marching through the streets for the last few hours. They have remained intense standoffs with police, but for the most part peaceful.
Your walking backwards is making me a little nervous, Stephen, but we are certainly getting a good sense of what's happening in Manhattan tonight. So thank you very much for that. Let's go back to Susan Ormiston. She is in Minneapolis tonight, and tell us what's happening there and what you know about protests in other parts of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, Ian, we're at an intersection, and you can probably see it's getting dark now, but there is a line of police, including the National Guard and armored vehicles, at the end of this street, blocking off a bridge from the other side. I'm just seeing a van coming up here. Usually that's a van with the riot squad here. Far outnumbered here by police. The protesters around here, seemingly a lot of local people standing around, trying to get a little closer. They walk up, kneel down, and then the police respond. Now, Someone just yelled at me, they're attacking our neighborhood. So that's the kind of response that people here are feeling. Now, I must say that what the robust police force is trying to do is keep the looting and the burning down. We saw the worst of that Thursday and Friday nights in this city. And so far, happily, we haven't seen that kind of destruction in this area. It's merely a taunting and a response. I have to tell you something a little funny. We all need that. A man came out of a building just over here a moment ago. He had his headphones on, his earbuds in. He walked down this corridor here completely oblivious. They were firing rubber bullets at him. He didn't even hear them. Walked over here and he was told that police were firing on him. He just went okay and walked on. So a little bit of levity in a very, very tense city still tonight.
I appreciate that, Susan. That is a great story. Thank you very much. Now, on a more sobering note, protests can be unpredictable. There is always risk involved for those covering them. And over the weekend, those risks appeared to increase. We want to show you a chaotic moment for Susan and our team yesterday.
Jason, be careful. Oh, shit! Just got hit. Jason!
So she was hit by some sort of crowd-controlled projectile. As we could see, she is okay. But she wasn't the only journalist hit while covering the unrest in the streets, and some are wondering what impact all of this will have on attempts to cover this dynamic, important story.
I'm press. I am press.
I don't care, get down.
Okay, I'm down.
Scenes like this were captured in cities across the United States. The cameras rolling when law enforcement seemed to be targeting journalists.
We identified ourselves as press, and they fired tear gas canisters on us at point-blank range. I got hit in the leg.
An investigative journalism website called Bellingcat reported at least 50 separate incidents from Minneapolis to New York City to Louisville, Kentucky. Many faced rubber bullets and tear gas. Some were even arrested. Just 2 days after this CNN television crew was arrested on air, it appeared they were targeted once again by police. With so many protests in so many U.S. cities, we're asking Anita Bath in our newsroom here in Vancouver to keep an eye on them through the evening. And Anita, what do you have?
Ian, let's start in Boston, where a mostly peaceful day may be starting to turn. Protesters surrounding a police van, you can see here, smashing out its windows, and tear gas dispersed in an effort to get people out of the streets. Let's go to Atlanta. Like many cities, a curfew is now in place. Still, this was the scene in the last hour or so. Protesters even looted a downtown construction site, trying to build a barricade between them and police. There's also fallout tonight in Atlanta from this scene last night there. The 2 people in the car are being tasered by officers, and now 2 of those officers have been fired.
There would have been a time, probably even last week even, that we would have been able to take our time and very likely would not have taken the measure of terminating these officers. But again, as we watch the video today, it became abundantly clear that this force was excessive.
In Philadelphia, more looting and unrest gripping neighborhoods. We're also seeing officers injured, hit with bricks, rocks, and Molotov cocktails. Now, amidst all the unrest, there have also been some very powerful moments today, including this one I want to show you, an officer consoling a protester in Louisiana.
I'm feeling the pain. We're here with y'all. We're here to help. Okay? All right? Okay? Okay?
It's all right.
Okay. Look at me. It's all right. We're all here together, okay?
Okay, as it starts to get later on the East Coast, many are hoping to avoid the violence seen last night. We are also keeping an eye on the West Coast, protests in LA, Seattle, so far remaining mainly peaceful. Ian?
And of course, not yet nightfall here on the West Coast. Thank you very much, Anita. We're also seeing rallies across Canada, some in solidarity with the U.S. protesters, but others to highlight justice issues in this country. Briar Stewart is at one of those rallies here in Vancouver. Briar.
Well, Ian, I'm outside of the Vancouver Art Gallery where 3,500 people have turned up to join the protests that are going on really so many places across North America. I'm going to step to the side so you can see a little bit of the view. The crowd has thinned out a little bit, but it's a very large crowd, people from all across the city here, and they've been chanting frequently, talking about how Black Lives Matter, and it's been difficult to hear the organizers just because the sound of the crowd is so loud. But really this group here is taking part in protests that we've seen really play out all across the country this weekend.
No justice, no peace!
They're gathering in cities across Canada by the thousands, a country with its own enduring struggles with racism and injustice. Many here have experienced it firsthand.
I don't feel safe as if I were a white teenager my age. I always have to be extra vigilant if I'm with my friends. I always have to make sure I'm acting better than everybody.
I don't know if I feel safe or not. I just feel different. I'm treated different than other people because of my skin color.
Protests were also held yesterday in Halifax and in Toronto. They were passionate but peaceful gatherings. Some held signs with the name of Regis Korchinski-Paquette, the 29-year-old woman who died after apparently falling from her balcony last week while police were inside the apartment. In Calgary, a smaller, more intimate rally was held this afternoon.
I've never been to a protest before. This is my first one, and I just felt like I could not be silent.
In Vancouver, around 3,000 joined a protest downtown. Organizers urge people to wear masks and come out and show their support. Jacob Calendar-Prasad says while Canada is a very different country than the U.S., many of the same issues exist. He says he's been a victim of excessive force by the police.
There's a large underlying issue in Canada where racism gets swept under the rug, and it's time that that issue comes out. We bring it out and we put it into the light and we address this head on.
And Briar, what are organizers doing here in Vancouver to try to keep that demonstration peaceful?
Well, that was, of course, the big goal for them, is to keep it safe. And one of the things that they decided to do is not to do a march because they wanted the crowd to stay in one area. It was easier to control that way. I should mention there appears to be a few people here that really wanted to agitate the crowd. There was a fist fight that broke out at one point, but that ended quite quickly. It's a different picture in Montreal, where that protest that we showed you images of earlier, it did become unruly. We understand that tear gas was fired, barricades had been taken down, and police said that projectiles were thrown at them, and that at one point the protest was basically declared illegal. So conditions there did deteriorate, but here in Vancouver it is still quite a peaceful protest, and that is something that organizers are very happy about, Ian.
All right, Briar, thank you very much. And Briar's mask, of course, a reminder all of this is happening during a pandemic. The massive protests across the United States in particular have sent shudders through the public health community. They say that these protests could lead to a spike in new cases of coronavirus. This is what scares them. No signs of physical distancing, people packed together, cheering, jeering, many without masks. Today, the mayor of Washington, D.C. made a plea.
I'm urging everybody to consider their exposure if they need to isolate from their family members when they go home, and if they need to be tested, because we have worked very hard to blunt the curve.
But as the violence rocked cities, some, like Los Angeles, suspended testing due to safety concerns. I want to bring in infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogosh. And Dr. Bogosh, clearly we're not talking about the politics of these protests, but simply from a medical perspective. When you saw all that video of all those people shoulder to shoulder for a long time outside, what was your reaction?
It's certainly purely from a medical perspective, that's concerning to see, especially in the context of an epidemic that's hitting many parts of the United States hard. You see thousands of people. You see them very, very close together, many of whom are not wearing masks. It would come to no one's surprise if someone who had the infection in one of those protests, that individual could certainly transmit it to other people. Now, of course, we saw pictures of protests in many parts of the country, and in some settings, people were a little bit farther apart. That's helpful. In other settings, we saw lots of people wearing masks. That, of course, can be protective. And, of course, it's outside, which is also protective. But the scenes that we saw where people are tightly packed together, many of whom are not wearing masks, and with thousands of people in, that's a troubling scene in the context of an epidemic.
And I guess if they do develop symptoms, we're looking at 1 to 2 weeks when we find that out.
Yeah, but symptoms can develop as early as 2 to 3 days after an exposure. So I really hope people are mindful of that, and certainly that they know where to go for testing should they develop symptoms.
All right, Dr. Bogosh, thank you.
Anytime.
We'll come back to the protests in a moment, but we want to stay on the coronavirus story for a minute. There are 3 new cases in New Brunswick tonight, and that's sparking fears that the outbreaks that have plagued long-term care homes in Ontario and Quebec have come to New Brunswick. Harry Forrestal explains.
For the past 3 days now, Manoir de la Vallée has been the focus of a rapid response team sent in to test residents and staff for COVID-19. The results, not encouraging.
Today, there are 3 new cases of COVID-19 in the province. These cases, and one reported yesterday, have all been confirmed in residents of the Manoir de Vallée long-term care facility in Atholville.
The home has 51 residents with varying levels of care. 4 residents and 1 staff member are now known to be infected with the virus. 3 are in hospital, 1 in intensive care.
I understand the stress that this is causing for residents and staff of the Manoir and their families. An outbreak in a senior's home is everyone's greatest fear.
It's a dramatic setback in a province that has, until now, managed to keep the COVID genie in its bottle. Out of 61 care homes, this outbreak is the first breach in those defenses. And in another startling development, Premier Blaine Higgs acknowledged today that since Friday, a third of the Manoir staff have left their jobs.
10 out of 28. And they felt it necessary to leave the facility, which is concerning because, at a time like this, it's important that, we have everyone there to do what we can.
Why they've left, says the Manoir's owner, is simple: fear of COVID-19.
As soon as the staff learn that COVID is around, many of them are just scared about that.
Advocates for nursing home residents are frightened too, worried that now COVID has a toehold in the province, it will spread to other care homes.
This is actually quite a setback. I'm really concerned that once they open the doors, it's going to spread.
There are now 12 active cases of COVID-19 in the province, all of them in the Campbellton region. And as public health officials warn, there will be more. Harry Forrestal, CBC News, Fredericton.
All right, let's take you back to Washington, D.C., where our Paul Hunter is standing by. He said the mood had been shifting there, and Paul, that certainly seems to be the case now.
Yeah, it's taken a dramatic turn, Ian, in just the past few minutes. You can see the flames over here. This is just on the other side of Lafayette Park, which is the park directly in front of the White House. I believe that's a landscaping building that has just been set on fire in the last couple of minutes. And if we just take a look down the street a little bit, that fire has been burning. We think it's just a bonfire. They put sticks there. They set that going for dramatic effect. They achieved that. And then this building, if we want to bring the camera back this way, has just caught fire. So the tone has changed dramatically. And here comes some gas in the last couple of minutes. And the police, who have been standing in front of the White House the whole night, have now moved right to this side of the park. Obviously, the symbolism of getting close to the White House is what's at issue, or what the demonstrators have been trying to get at all night. Police have been calm, the crowd has been calm until a few minutes ago. There have been some firecrackers going off overhead and a fairly thick amount of tear gas over there. Otherwise, it's calm. It's at least for the moment, Ian.
So you mentioned the symbolism of those fires being close to the White House. In terms of actual security issues, how far away is that burning trailer from the White House?
I want to say a couple of 100 meters. Like, it's pretty close. For people who know Washington, it's Lafayette Park. We're on the north side of Lafayette Park. Pennsylvania Avenue, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is literally like 200 meters that way. But the police line, again, I don't know if you can see it, but we see the helmeted police with the face masks and the shields have now moved up to just the other side of that structure. More bangs going off over there and more down there. They have not moved closer to the crowd. They've not charged the crowd, the crowd has not charged them. It's loud. Interestingly as well, we're standing right next to a church across the street from the park. And a few minutes ago, somebody was running around saying, "Don't burn the church, don't burn the church, don't burn the church." And meanwhile, people are just watching to see what happens. A lot of tear gas as well, a lot of people in tears and choking and coughing, pouring water on their face and milk to neutralize the tear gas. But as I stand here, Ian, I'm looking at the police and the Secret Service and National Guard, I guess, and they are just standing there. It's raucous and it's kind of unpredictable, but as I say, it's in a sense a kind of very dramatic staring match at the moment.
Yeah, that is an interesting contrast. Dynamic in one part of the scene there, as you and your camera operator are showing us, and yet on the other hand, a lot of people standing in an, if I can say this, in an orderly way. Okay, you stand by. We're going to come back to you later in the hour. Thank you very much, Paul. And of course, we have much more coverage here on the National ahead. Including policing in America. What can be done to calm the country? And we're on the ground and inside the conversation.
No, hear me out, hear me out.
We hear from those at the center of it all. Plus, amidst the violence, the moments of connection this weekend.
We can't forget, on all our police cars across the nation, it says protect and serve. Protect and serve. That means all people.
We're back right after this. We are live here on the National, looking at shots of the National Guard who are assembling in Atlanta. Throughout the evening, they have been in the area of Centennial Park, Centennial Olympic Park, and I can't tell in that shot if that's where they are now, but if you know Atlanta, you know how centrally located that is. There is a curfew underway in the city right now, as there is in many cities across the United States. We have witnessed a divided country under pressure from a pandemic, grievances boiling over, but we've also seen acts of unity. Here's a look at some of those moments from the weekend.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with murder and with manslaughter.
You are disgracing our city. You are disgracing the life of George Floyd and every other person who has been killed in this country. We are better than this.
A lot of our brothers are getting killed in the streets. Most of the time, they try to say it's black on black crime. That's bullshit.
Wrong is knocking out somebody's windows that has nothing to do with it. But right is standing up for what's going on around here. Because I got a black son. He's got to be prepared to come out in this world to figure out what's going on. And I want him to see this firsthand.
We can't forget, on all our police cars across the nation, it says protect and serve.
Yes.
Protect and serve. That means all people. That means all people deserve the same dignity, and you can't call out what's wrong and try to make it right.
Free the man and free them all. Free them all. When the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be God.
I want to be able, when a cop is driving behind me, I don't have to clench and be tense, okay? I want to be able just to be free and not have to think about every step I take. At the end of the day, being born black is a crime to them, and I don't understand why, because we're all humans, and that's sickening.
Stay strong, and if we stand together, we can overcome any oppression that comes our way.
He's 16. Oh my God. He's 16. What we gonna do? You tell me. What we gonna do? This ain't the way. Because they ready to let loose. If the United States president say, if you loot, we shoot. You think doing this go out? I know it. It's all I know. But it's time to stand up. So at this point, I'm ready to die.
My human emotion, the visceral response to the erasing of the humanity of George Floyd, which felt like us erasing the humanity of all of us.
Charges don't mean anything until one of those people are in jail doing serious time, and I'm not talking about a slap on the wrist. 25 years, hard time in federal prison. Thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, there are black and brown people having to clean up this mess, and this is what I can do, so I came out to clean.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe! No peace!
Many of us in Canada know very little about Minneapolis-St. Paul, so we wanted to check in with Keith Mays, a professor at the Department of African American and African Studies at the University of Minnesota. Professor, the unrest in the cities goes deeper than the death of George Floyd. So can you give us briefly some context of the African American experience in Minneapolis-St. Paul?
Absolutely. Minneapolis and St. Paul, the state of Minnesota has some of the worst disparities in the United States. If you look at the income levels, income gaps, the educational gap, rates of incarceration, rates of home ownership, in many ways, this is just a powder keg waiting to explode. We are coming off of the deaths of Philando Castile, where the police officer was acquitted, Jamar Clark in 2015. So the police abuse on top of the massive inequality in the state gave rise to what you see today taking place in the streets.
You've walked around those streets in your community. You know what has been going on and the mood. What will it take to quell the violence?
Justice, immediate justice. We have the arrest of Derek Chauvin. We are waiting for the arrest of the other 3 officers, and that's what it's going to take in the immediate. In the long term, we are looking for some of these inequalities to be addressed, and we know that they can't change overnight, but we're tired of public officials paying lip service to the issues. It's time that we really understand what's going on in Black and brown communities so we can live out the democracy that's stated in the ideals of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. We've been fighting for these rights for 240 some odd years.
Keith Mays from the University of Minnesota, thank you very much for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you, Ian.
Those issues, those concerns being felt in demonstrations right across the country, from big cities to smaller ones like this live shot of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We are live on the National as we watch the dynamic situation across the country. 4 live scenes of protests, and we have seen things develop very quickly throughout the evening, including the epicenter of these protests, Minneapolis, St. Paul. That's where our Susan Ormiston has been reporting, and let's check in with her again. Susan?
Ian, just to put some context on tonight versus what we've been seeing over the last couple of nights, there is definitely not as much going on tonight. This is a relatively small protest. It's been ebbing and flowing all night. They're grouped around here, mostly neighbors, and at the end of the street here still is a line of National Guard and police preventing anybody from crossing that bridge. There have been some arrests over there. But what the police are trying to do is keep the violence, the looting, and the burning down to a minimum. And we have not seen that in this area tonight. These people have been yelling back and forth with the police, but there hasn't been any violent incidents.
Y'all record us. Y'all recording us right now.
Yeah.
Are we animals?
No, I'm not saying you're animals, ma'am.
Okay, you have a sense of responsibility.
This is a live stream.
One second, please.
Journalist?
1 second, please.
I'm sorry.
You have a sense of responsibility.
You know what?
To report the truth.
We are reporting what we see.
Violence? No. Are we violent? Are we rioting?
Because the media every day has been calling us thugs and animals.
Please, let me speak.
So we're trying to say this.
Please,
I haven't been calling you thugs and animals.
No.
But what
it's not about you. We're talking about mainstream media.
Okay.
Mainstream media.
Hey, yo, don't give her some space. All right, so there's a lot going on. Thank you. Thank you.
Be respectful.
There's obviously a little bit of tension here. There was some glass thrown a few minutes ago, and people were trying to remove that person from here. They're really trying to protect their businesses and their homes. Okay. Off the road. All right, Ian, so, you know, it just kicks off like that, back and forth. The point is that we're not seeing the kind of damage we've seen in the past few nights. So whatever police force is here, they say they are accomplishing what they set out to do, which is to restore a very tense order and keep the violence down in Minneapolis, Ian.
All right, Susan, thank you very much for that, and we will continue to check in with you through the evening. And let's take a look quickly at some live shots across the United States. And keep in mind, for those of you watching, we are very mindful, our crews are very mindful of their safety in the field. And so you should know that Susan and her crew are taking precautions to make sure they remain safe through this dynamic story. We'll be right back. We are continuing our live coverage here on the National, and let's go back to Washington, D.C. Our Paul Hunter has been just outside the White House, and if you were watching earlier in the hour, you know the situation was fairly dynamic. What's happening now, Paul?
Well, lots. Police have moved for the first time in a long time, and they've basically pushed everybody back. The fire is still going on. I think they wanted to clear a path for the fire trucks. A structure across the park from the White House was set on fire. It is still burning. Police then started tear gassing everything. Everybody ran. It was quite dramatic. Now they've gone right up to where the police are with their shields and their helmets. Some have kneeled down. Some have got their hands up like this, saying, "Hands up, don't shoot." Throwing things at them. The occasional tear gas coming this way. As I say, it's quite dramatic, but still largely peaceful. A lot of the crowd had moved on. There's a curfew coming up in this city at 11 o'clock Eastern. So the crowd had dissipated even before this happened. But when police moved, they moved, and the crowd ran. It was loud. It was dramatic. It was unnerving. We'll see what happens the rest of the night, but that's where it stands for now, Ian.
Okay, Paul Hunter in Washington. Thank you very much. Next, as protests erupt across the United States and around the world, a plea from a young singer.
I'm a young black man doing all that I can.
We're back right after this. We're looking live at the scene in Minnesota. As you can see, remains, as Susan Ormiston told us a short while ago, very active. The curfew has been in effect in Minneapolis, St. Paul for some time now, but clearly some people are not heeding that. There are thousands of people in streets and cities across the United States, and we will see over the next few hours if they heed the message of many organizers asking them to remain peaceful. After George Floyd was killed, 12-year-old Keedron Bryant decided to channel his feelings into a song, an emotional tribute that's now become an anthem with a powerful message.
I'm a young black man doing all that I can to stand. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind, every day I'm being hunted as prey. My people don't want no trouble. We've had enough struggle. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
You know, in that song is part of the story of the last few days, the eloquence and emotion that we're hearing expressed so many ways, whether it's a song or people on the street, even sometimes people arguing on the street, and we're getting so much insight into what the issues are in the United States. And we will continue to do that. If you're watching in Atlantic, Canada, we will continue live coverage throughout the evening on CBC News Network. That is the National for Sunday, May 31st.